Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Subnautica tutorial. This topic is on food, water and farming. So we're actually in a survival world here, so that we can actually see the impact of food and water on our character here. As you can see in front of me, I have my farm from my survival world, but we'll be coming back to that in a second. Let's first talk about water. So there's 4 different kinds of water that you can make in this game. There's filtered water, which is made by taking an air sac, one of these guys, putting it into the fabricator, going to sustenance water and filtered water. Now that will return you 20 water. The next best kind is disinfected, which provides 40 water but does require a supply of common coral, which are these guys, and a supply of salt. And essentially you combine both of those in the fabricator using bleach, or to make bleach, and then with that bleach you can then make the disinfected water, and that will give you 40, so twice as much. The next kind that you may come across is this reclaimed water. You get this when using a still suit, and essentially every now and again when you have the still suit equipped you will get back a reclaimed water. Now although this does give you 20 and essentially it is free water, it does take away 3 food, so just need to be careful that your food doesn't go down too low when using this method. The last kind of water supply in the game is the big filtered water, and the only way you can get this currently is using a water filtration machine. And you can see that it's actually filling up the bottle right now. This machine is built using the habitat builder. It requires 2 titanium. Let's see if we can find it in here. There we go. And it essentially just requires a wall of the base. Now be warned with these, they are power hungry. For each one of these you will need at least 5 solar panels. And even with 5 solar panels, over the night you will become quite low on power. It won't go away completely, so you'll be left with about 20 or 30 power. But it's definitely worth noting that you need a large solar array. Other power supplies are different, generate more power. But for your basic setup that's what you need. Very good machine. Essentially you just click on it and it's got an inventory here. Once this inventory is full it does stop using power, so you can see my power is pretty stable at the moment, and it also produces salt, which we can use later. So that's water covered, which is fairly simple really, but a very useful resource in the game. Talking food is a little bit more complicated. So the most basic food that you'll have when you start out in the safe shallows will be the peepers, boomerang and air sacs. Now you'll be wanting to use your air sacs to get your first basic water supply, so really you're going to be using peepers and boomerang. The peeper, uncooked, gives you 18 food, but it does cost water. And the boomerang gives you 12 food and does cost water as well. Now to stop these costing water, essentially what you do is you take your fish, go to sustenance and you cook them. Like I said, this is very basic so far. So the cook peeper gives you 32 food and 5 water. So early on this is going to be your primary food supply as well as the boomerangs. However, you will have noticed here that these do not last for very long in your inventory. After 2 or 3 minutes these will start to rot and decay, and you'll gradually see the food and water go down until, if you leave it for half an hour, it will become -25, -25. Consuming this when you have low food will kill you, so be warned.
Vital signs stabilizing.
The next supply of food, which is what I primarily use when exploring, is cured food. And essentially what we do is we take a fish, we combine it with salt, and we get a cured fish. Now this has the benefit of never rotting, however it does cost water when you consume it. So we get the full benefit of the food, but we do lose 2 water. So again, be warned, have a supply of water with you. And you can cancel most of it out with the reclaimed water. So if you have a still suit, you're generating water, and when you consume the food, you're using water. So the 2 combined can basically create an equilibrium. You will eventually run out of food and water, so don't rely on it completely. The next best way of generating food is actually using the farm. So these aren't actually called farms, these are planters, and essentially once you've found dry land, you'll use your scanner to scan these guys, and then come back to your base and you'll be able to put them down. They're found under appliances, and what you're looking for is the indoor grow beds. And essentially you can construct these in your base and they have an inventory. So what you want to do is run around the dry land and pick up some lanterns, which are these guys here, these lantern fruits. And essentially all you need to do is grab the fruits. You don't need to chop down the trees or anything like that in this game. And you'll also want to get a hold of these marble melons. So marble melons are definitely the best supply food that you can grow in these planters. For each marble melon they give you 22 food, 15 water, which is pretty good. And the lantern fruit give you 13 and 11. So if I just pick up one of these guys, you can see there. Now what you'll want to do is actually when you find them on dry land is instead of picking them up straight away is actually right click with a knife and you'll get 4 melon seeds. Each one of these seeds will grow into a melon, so I can put these straight back in here and they will grow into the marble melon plants. So for every plant that you grow you can get 4 back. So this is how you actually farm food in this game. So essentially you could fill this entire planter with marble melons, and as you need food just pick them, eat them, and just make sure that you always have some seeds left over, otherwise you'll have to go back to the dry land to grab more. The lantern fruit is slightly different. It actually grows these trees which I think look amazing, so might be planning to use these plant pots around the base just to give the base a little bit of colour. But essentially you just pick the fruit straight off the top, and these will give you 13 food and 11 water. Now it's worth noting that with the food, if you consume too much food at once, you'll get a message come up saying that internal blood loss has been detected, and you will lose a bit of health, a lot of water and a lot of food. So make sure that when you're consuming food, even if it's an emergency, just use food every so often, give it about 30 seconds for each time and you'll have no worries. Your food and water doesn't actually go down quick enough for you to ever need to spam ingestion. The last thing that I want to note on food and just food supply early on is once you've got yourself a base set up, or even just a single room with a power supply to turn the lights on, you might want to construct an aquarium. So what this does is allows you to go out into the world, catch fish, and then store them back at your base so you don't have to run around and try and grab them. You can put and pull fish into this aquarium as much as you like. You can then eat the food and whatever, cook it, cure it, whatever you need to do really. It's worth having at least one of these in your base so that you've got just an emergency food supply and water supply if you capture the air sacs, just keeping it in your base. That's going to be it for this tutorial, guys. It's very quick, very simple. There are other food sources in the game. I've just highlighted some of the best ones that I've found in the game. You can also eat creep vines in an emergency, but they really don't give you much benefit. You're much better catching a fish and cooking, but needs must in the game. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.